true. All you have to do is sneeze a couple of times.
Yeah, and you're suspicious.
I got into a sneezing fit the other day at a store, and you want to see the aisle clean out. Bam, they were gone.
Everyone was running away from you.
It's just allergies.
Yeah, I know. I had a regular old-fashioned cold. I haven't had one for 3 years.
I can't remember when was the last time I had a cold.
I guess the distancing has helped us have fewer colds, I suppose.
True.
So do we have any idea how many people will show up? Did anyone say they wouldn't show up?
We have not heard that anyone will not show up.
Okay, good.
So the public hearings have already been noticed, so we don't have to read the legal notice, but I will read the guidelines again because
okay,
we'll be presenting. That's how we usually do it, right?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay. Neil, do you want me to share the site plan for you? Oops, you're muted. You're
okay. Yeah, I didn't bring anything with me on my trip, so
okay.
You have
I hope
to.
you're somewhere fun.
My daughter's in DC, so very hot.
No one goes to DC in July.
Except me, yes. I agree. It's sort of miserable right now. Very buggy, very buggy.
Oh, and buggy, hot, humid, and buggy.
Yeah, I went in August once. I went in August once. I will never do that again.
Yeah, it's the things you do for your grandkids. I guess that's sort of how I'm going at this one.
Right.
Did you guys get storms this afternoon?
A little bit. Not as we didn't get a lot of rain. It wasn't stormy, it was just rain. Or at least in the little microclimate of 4 South Eagleville Road. We have to remember to begin recording. I have to say it out loud because that way we're sure to remember.
That seems to be the hardest thing to remember.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
What's going on in the town hall today?
That's the voting. I think the registrar of voters is having a meeting. Is that right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we saw a brief video of a bunch of people standing around our normal meeting room there.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it had been invaded.
Invaded by the registrars.
They're training new poll workers.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. When will you guys go back to in-person meetings, or haven't you even discussed that yet?
So, you want to answer that, Paul?
The answer is we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can go back, but we have to have provisions for people to dial in. So it's a hybrid meeting, and we're a little short on staff right now. And we need to get you need someone to run the booth. It's having like a mini movie studio for an evening. So it takes just a little bit of more effort.
So
Bino,
how
you're
is the
back.
public? Never mind.
Welcome back, Bino.
Thank you.
Did you go far away?
Yeah, went to India.
Oh, that's far away.
The first time you've been since the pandemic?
No, I went last year as well.
Oh, good.
Was it nice and warm there?
It's been
Very warm, and the place where I went to, it was raining 24/7.
Ah, monsoon,
Hot and humid.
right?
wow. Hi, John. John's gonna put his camera off, I guess, until we are up for the public hearing. One.
So we got
1, 2, 3,
Sarah, and Katie, Sarah,
Yes.
Binu.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4. We got a quorum. We got 6,
You got
7.
7. I'm missing someone.
Oh,
Oh,
missing you.
Carlita, yes. And we got Craig. Hi, Craig. Now we got 8. Going for 9. Can we do 9?
maybe John will show up.
I think DeVivo flashed there for a second and then disappeared. Anyway, we got enough to get started. So I call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission of Mansfield, Connecticut of July 18th.
Recording in progress.
Oh, I forgot to tell you to record it. Okay. I always forget that. Okay, I call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of July 18th, Mansfield, Connecticut at 6:01 p.m. Members present are Aho, Corsi, Chandy, Cotton, Tony, Dorian, Plant, Bear Stearns, and alternate Craig Wutch, who is seated for absent members DeVivo and Cooley. Anyone arrived in the last few seconds? No? Okay. So we have minutes from July 5th, PZC meeting.
I move to approve the minutes for Tony.
Okay, moved by.
Second, Ward.
Second by Ward. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Minutes are passed.
I'm abstaining.
Okay, all right. Any questions for our zoning agent? Any questions for Jolene? She's here. She's hiding, but she's here. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Okay, so we can move to the public hearing. And we don't have to read the public notice because we already read it once, right?
Correct.
But you can give us some instructions.
If you want to open the.
Oh, I should open it. I should open it. Okay. Public hearing is opened at 6:02 p.m. with members present: Aho, Corsi, Chandy, Cotton, Tony, Plant, Ward, and alternate Wutch.
And I believe that
Laurel just arrived. Okay, you arrived just in time, Laurel.
Okay, sorry.
And you are seated.
Okay, because at one point I wasn't going to be able to make it, but I'm here. So
Good. Welcome. Okay. Got here just in the nick of time. Okay. Now we can read the
Okay, I will go ahead and read
Boilerplate.
the guidelines for our public hearings. As a reminder to all participants, including members and staff, please state your name before speaking. For those viewing at home on live stream, please understand that there is a 1 to 2 minute time lag due to transmission delays. If you will be providing verbal testimony during the public hearing, you can call into the meeting at any time. We will take a few minutes after the application's presentation to give people time to call in. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to receive relevant information about the proposed application from the public. Order and decorum shall be maintained at all times during the hearings. The agency reserves the right to adjourn the hearing to another date and time if the discussion becomes unruly and unmanageable. Given the virtual format, we ask that everyone bear with us if we encounter any glitches. If we are unable to overcome technical issues and/or the agency is having difficulty understanding information presented in this format, the hearing will be continued to another meeting. Order of presentations. The applicant will first present, then we'll get public comment, those in support, those in opposition, those undetermined or are requesting additional information. When addressing the commission, state your name and address for the record before beginning your comments. Limit your comments to the subject of the public hearing. Avoid repetition where possible. Summarize reports and letters that are submitted to the commission rather than reading them aloud, as all written information is copied and distributed to members. Direct all questions and comments to the chair. Do not attempt to engage in dialogue with members of the commission staff or any other parties to the hearing. Speak clearly to ensure your comments are audible to members of the public watching from home and are recorded. Commission members may ask questions of anyone providing testimony, but will not discuss the relative merits of the application until the hearing is closed. Failure to abide by these policies and procedures may result in a muting of your microphone or dismissal from the hearing. Participation instructions. Instructions on how to participate in the public hearing are listed on the agenda. For those who would like to call in, please call 1-929-205-6099. Enter the following meeting ID, 894-4909-8418, and the following passcode, 630136. Again, the phone number is 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 894-4909-8418, and the passcode is 630136. So, Mr. Chair, I have a couple of items that I wanted to note for the record. The first is my staff memo. The applicant has submitted some additional plans that were in your packet. His plans are revised through July 7th. He has a signage plan revised through July 1st and a water and sewer connections plan revised through July 7th as well. We have comments from the Connecticut Water System Advisory Committee and from the Eastern Highlands Health District, and that is dated 6/28/2022. We do not have any comment or communications from the public regarding this application at this time. So, and again, it's the special permit application of Blue Waters LLC, applicant owner, to authorize a retail food service use with an associated drive-through facility on property located at 650 Middle Turnpike, PZC file 622. So with that, Neil Warren.
Okay, so the applicant is up first. Does that need you, Neil Warren?
Yes, it does.
Yes, okay. You got the floor.
Hi. I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to be doing here as far as comments, but I am Neil Warren. I'm the owner of Blue Waters, which is also the realty side of Domino's Pizza in town. We've been in town for 35 years, since 1987, and we are planning a move to the Four Corners area at 650 Middle Turnpike, and looking for approval of this special permit to make that move.
So does that mean you're going to close the one in downtown Stores?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So can everyone see the site plan up?
Yeah.
So this is it's a special permit application. This is the PB3 or district. It's a special design district. Retail restaurants are allowed, but it's a retail use, and that's an important distinction because drive-through restaurants are not allowed. So if there were seating and this were a drive-through, that would not be permitted. This drive-through has been existing since the bank was there, I believe in 1978. So the new drive-through regulations that you just adopted last summer do not apply, and I have confirmed this with the town attorney. So the special permit is for a change in use from a bank to a retail restaurant with a drive-through facility. So that's why you have this public hearing before you. So I just want to make a couple, I want to go through or would it be appropriate, Mr. Chair, if I went through my staff memo?
Yes.
Okay, just let me make sure I can pull that up. Sorry about that. Let's see. Why? I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, there we go. Let's see. So the site is going to be connected to public water and sewer. And as stated before, Mr. Warren has submitted plans indicating such. The site is designated as a planned office mixed use in the 2006 POCD. So, and that's identified in map 8.2 of the 2015 POCD. And therefore, the water connection complies with the special requirements for property served by Connecticut Water Company. That was referred to the Connecticut Water Company Advisory Committee, and they have no issues with that. The applicant's working with the Department of Public Works to connect to the public sewer system. Eastern Highlands has looked at this. They asked that the applicant update the plan to show the connections to public water and sewer. The applicant has done that. And Mr. King also recommended that he indicate on the plans that the septic system and well would be abandoned. And that is shown, and the applicant will have to comply with Eastern Highlands Health District. Parking is not an issue. There's 31 parking spots right now. They are only required to have 5. And they're fine for snow plowing and snow removal. They are demonstrating that they are going to be having some lighting within the parking area. And per my memo, I just recommend that they comply with the performance standards in Article 6, and then also the design standards in Article 10. Landscaping, there will be some renovation of the landscaping, and prior to the issuance of a zoning permit, I would suggest that the applicant submit a planting plan, and that basically the trees and shrubs, just like in another parking lot, would be able to withstand salt damage and be sturdy enough for a parking lot and not be listed on the invasive species list outlined by the state. Stormwater, right now the site is, or 90% of the site is currently impervious surface. They are proposing to add a very modest amount of impervious surface for the walk-in cooler and trash disposal area. Because this is just a modest addition, I don't believe that a full stormwater management plan would be applicable, but the commission could require that the applicant make some effort to manage stormwater by reducing hydraulic connectivity, and there are guidelines in the regulations for smaller projects. So it's also in the Four Corners Design Development District, and that the regulations state that any improvements in this district must comply with some provisions that, let's see, they have to incorporate prominent pedestrian-oriented and extensively landscaped streetscape. The enhancements as deemed appropriate by the commission, and there should be pedestrian sitting areas, bicycle racks, bus stops, and bus shelters. This is not proposed by the applicant, and there is an option to waive that with 3/4 of a vote of the entire commission. The parking layout has not changed from 1978. There are no additional curb cuts that are proposed. There's directional signage in the sign submission. He's talked about trash disposal. This site is in the Four Corners Historic Village. However, there are no exterior improvements, so I'm not sure that any of those criteria apply. The applicant has submitted a signage plan, and we are working with the sign producer to make sure that he complies with the regulations, and that will be included in the zoning permit. So you all just have to decide on whether or not you can approve this, or, you know, you can ask the applicant questions and we can kind of take it from there.
Okay, well, let's start with the sidewalk issue. Oh, John DeVivo's here. So who is unseated?
I think it's Laurel, but
Oh,
because
okay.
we've had this, the alternates have been seated now for many meetings. Laurel, do you
It's been-
remember?
When I popped on, you said I was seated.
Oh, but because we now have a full slate of
Right.
we have, yes. So it's either you or Craig that
I
are
think
on,
it's Laurel. I believe it's Laurel's turn
to be on the to be
to be
seated.
seated. To be
Okay,
seated.
good. All right,
Okay.
great. Okay, excellent.
Such a gentleman.
I'm glad someone remembers. All right, that's fine.
Okay, why don't we deal with the sidewalk issue first? So this is the question I have about the sidewalk is if we decide to waive the sidewalk requirement, can we require it if a sidewalk appears at their neighbors? That would have to be built in the future to connect to things.
That you can condition the special permit on that. So if, for example, right now, from Dick's Automotive or that little plaza, you've got the little plaza, you've got Dick's, and then you have the subject property, and then the one adjacent to that. All of that is zoned for mixed use center. Currently, there is no sidewalk there. So if this applicant were to put in a sidewalk, it would just be on their frontage. So I did speak with Kevin Deneen, the town attorney, and he said that you could condition your approval on if this comes before you and he's asking for more an intensification of the use or a redevelopment, or at such time that the adjacent property owners install sidewalks, you could then require that.
Vera, I'd like to get your opinion on this.
I definitely agree that we need to have a clause in there that says they need to, but I'm concerned about lack of enhancements in general. And also you say no exterior improvements. Well, does that mean they aren't changing the structure?
Correct, except the two changes are the addition of a 12 by 24, Neil, is that right? Cooler, and then a trash disposal area.
Well, definitely we need a planning plan. Definitely we need, I just would like to see it dressed up a little bit more than just a pizza place stuck there, you know. I think it needs to have a little warmer attitude.
One thing that now there's a few patches of green there. Neil, what's your opinion on enhancing those tiny patches of green in a vast asphalt area?
It is somewhat difficult because it is a.
Can you see the site plan?
There's
Yes.
Jennifer, can you cut off whoever else is in the background?
Yeah, I think Julian's taking care of that.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, we're.
Just mute the Mansfield media booth, I think.
Here we go.
Okay, good.
I muted the is that, Jillian, is that okay if I do that? Will we still be able to hear?
Yeah, I gotta check the live stream.
Okay, we just make sure that if we mute the media booth.
Meanwhile, Neil can be thinking of his answer about the vegetation.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good with this. Whenever you want me to start, I can.
Why don't you wait 1 sec?
We have to make sure we're still streaming.
Yeah, I think we're okay. I heard you say, on the live stream that, are we gonna be okay? And that was after you muted it. So
Okay,
I think we're
good.
good.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I
Neil.
can't unmute them for some reason. Okay, so let me put up that site plan again. So this is what the applicant submitted. So this is the original site plan from.
We can't see it yet.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, that's because I didn't press share. Sorry about that.
Okay, now we can.
Okay, so I'm just checking with Sandy. I think we're good. Okay, so currently, right here, this was the existing plantings. That's where your walk-in cooler is going. Is that right, Neil?
There are no real plantings on that end of it. It's just some weeds basically and some all something or other. But the plantings are on the side closest to 44, that little like half circle. That one, and then there's one on the road side, which is sort of where that, I'll call it hump, but I can't really tell. Right there in the middle of it. Those are the two plantings we have along, and then there's one also alongside between Dick's and my property, and I'm not sure whose it is exactly, but that has trees and it actually looks relatively well taken care of. So I'm assuming Dick's is doing that for the time being. We have torn down most of the weeds and plants that were overgrown on Nut 44 and at the end of the building, with the plan to put newer plants in there once I get approval as far as from the planning and zoning. That's not going to be an issue at all. We just wanted to get down the eyesore because they were just completely overgrown and weeds were growing through them. So we tore those down.
What about in the back where there's some green? Can you do something back there?
So
yeah,
that's the leaching field, and our plan is it's grass right now, and depending on what we have to do with the runoff, and I'm working with data engineering right now as far as getting that under control. So I don't know what we'll be able to do there, but my assumption is we can either leave it grass or plantings. And my wife is a gardener, master gardener, and she loves to plant. So my plan is sort of following her lead and making this as green as possible within the confines of the property, which I don't see tearing up parking lot too much to do that, if possible.
Right, but you can do something in the back and you can do something in the front.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it will definitely be addressed through planning and zoning as well.
Okay.
So one of the issues here is just for him to do some low impact development to just handle some of that stormwater, and there could be some sort of like rain garden or something here to handle some of the drain, because the site drains. If you can see that. Yeah.
Correct.
So. But that's not gonna be in the front of the property. That's gonna be in the back. It's not gonna be, you're not gonna see a lot of that. That will really be for stormwater. So, and because there are no changes to the parking lot, I did check the regulations, and I don't believe you can require like the interior, the parking lot landscaping requirements. I mean, it's a special permit, so you could consider that, but I'm not sure that there's anything in the regulations unless he were to totally.
Yes, Vera.
Well, just as he said they didn't want to do anything to the parking lot, that was my thought, that there's a lot of extra parking. How many can you seat in your restaurant area?
0.
We have no seating. There'll be no seating. The issue is more because of customers coming to pick up and our drivers. And the other restaurants that I have usually use somewhere between 20, around 20 parking spots is a pretty comfortable number to have. So it's not dramatically more than that, which is great. But I don't know how.
lot of extra parking lot, and that space could be utilized to make it look more decorative than just a drive-through. And I didn't understand about the drive-through. It's allowed because it was a previous non-conforming
Drive-through, yeah, because it was a
Well,
drive-through before.
It's the setbacks are non-conforming, but retail drive-throughs are allowed in Four Corners. If there were to be seating inside, outside, that it would not be allowed without a zone change. But just as you have a CVS drive-through, a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, some bank drive-throughs, that is allowed per the regulations. So
it's actually similar to the store you have in downtown stores where you don't sit in it. You just have drivers going in and out.
Correct. And then carry up people and pick up as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So retail food services are permitted in the PB3 zone with special permit approval. There's no on-seat seating or dining associated with the proposed Domino's. So it's considered a retail use per the regulations, not a restaurant. Restaurant drive-throughs are not permitted in PB3, but there are no restrictions on drive-through retail uses in this zone. And then, as I mentioned before, because the drive-through use existed prior to the adoption of the 2021 regulations, this facility is considered non-conforming, so they don't have to comply with those. And I did confirm that with our attorney.
I just would like to see more greenery, and I don't think you need all that parking space. So I wonder if you could just think out of the box a little bit and figure out.
Yeah, so we can't require the planting, but would you consider having 20 spots and some more greenery over there?
I'm not going to commit to a number of spots, but I can definitely see increasing it because I actually just got the estimate for the paving, and I'd like to reduce that. So it'd be a lot less expensive for us to move forward if I could actually remove some of that.
What you could do, you could put some greenery in between it down the middle, make it fatter. It looks like you might have room to do that, and then eliminate some of the spots as well.
Well, you also have to take care of the traffic,
Right, you have to be able to have the traffic has to get by.
Yeah.
Right, you could just simply eliminate some spots and put something green there. That would save you some money and it would look better.
Is there also a way, I'm just looking at it right now, is there a way to increase the size of the one on the road, that bed that's along the road?
Yeah, take out a few spots, yeah.
You mean here?
I believe that's the spot, yes. That's right up on 44. I keep saying 195 on 44. If we could increase the size of that bed, it doesn't really impede any traffic, but it would definitely have more green visible to the road, which I believe is one of the concerns. And I don't disagree with that. My
So
wife and I,
you might take out 20 and 9, for example, or 9, 21, and 20.
I can't see the numbers on this, but the ones along the road, basically, yes.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We might be able to figure that out.
Can we double back to the sidewalk question? Because if we're going to waive that, we have to have a supermajority.
We haven't decided to waive it.
We have not decided that, but if we were to decide that, it would have to be a supermajority.
But wouldn't we want a clause that says if the area were developed and others?
Yes. Yeah. I think it would have to be something like, if anything happens on either side, as far as improvements, then that triggers the sidewalk having to be put in. And we could work on that in a motion if we're going to write a motion for next time. Any other members of the commission have an opinion on the sidewalk? We have to be mostly in agreement on this if we're going to do it. Yeah, Carlita.
I'm okay with having a clause that would provide for them putting in a sidewalk if the other are doing as well as development goes. I'm also caught up in the greenery beautification and placement thereof. But I think I'd probably need to see a more current, a better mock-up of exactly what you're proposing.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
Bino,
Yeah. So why aren't we requiring the sidewalk immediately? Because the neighbors
Well-
are not.
the argument is that there's no sidewalk on either side. It would be a very short sidewalk.
It's up to, this is
But it's up to
something.
us.
you
It's
did-
up to us. Yeah.
The applicant did not propose it. You all have to make the decision as to whether or not you're gonna require this or not.
Normally we do require it.
Yeah, and I think we had the similar situation in another case, and we decided that if we don't require it immediately, it becomes complicated, or we should have either right now or, as a requirement later. I don't know
Yes.
how you're going
I would agree with
implement
that.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with having it triggered by a sidewalk of a neighbor?
I think it should be a requirement for all of them, and I think that's the way it is. We had decided, right? Developments along Route 44 and 195 shall incorporate a prominent pedestrian-oriented and extensively landscaped streetscape. So this includes this one as well, right?
Yes. That's why we.
Yeah.
would-
So we had already decided that everyone
Yeah.
will have to do it.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
So would you want the sidewalk and the streetscape, or just the sidewalk? Or, because it also includes bus stop and, bicycle lane and for a very short piece here.
It requires a bus stop.
Well, the wording, could you read that again, Jennifer, the wording of that?
Yeah, I think you have discretion here as to what, what you're gonna have them do. Let's see, where did I lose? Here we go. So it says developments along Route 44 and 195 and along North Hillside Road shall incorporate prominent pedestrian-oriented and extensively landscaped streetscape. The streetscape area shall include a walkway, bikeway, street trees, and other landscape enhancements, and as deemed appropriate by the commission, pedestrian sitting areas, bicycle racks, bus stops, and bus shelters.
I would waive the bus stop and the bus shelter.
Those are important, but there is one over on the other side of the street. Yeah.
But you would leave in the bicycle racks and the pedestrian seating?
I mean, I think we want a streetscape, so I think we should do that.
I think you need to decide also whether you want to do it now or later also.
What, sidewalk?
Yeah.
Well, if it involves landscaping and what they do there, I think it probably should be now.
Yes, Dorian.
Sidewalk, because there's no pedestrians walking in that area.
That's
I never
true.
see people walking over there.
There's no sidewalk.
Well, if they're gonna walk, they're gonna walk. I mean, but you don't have pedestrian walkway there. They live right around the corner.
But there will be if there's a bunch of apartments across the road.
That's further down. And I would propose that if the sidewalks are necessary down the road, then everybody's required to do it. To do it now when there's nothing there to walk to.
Yes, Carlita.
Does that mean then that we'd have to double back to any businesses that would be on either side of the proposed Domino's property and say to them, you need to put in a sidewalk right now?
Not if they're not making an improvement or a change.
We wouldn't have that authority.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, we're waffling on sidewalks big time. I hear you that there's no need for maybe a sidewalk, but there is development planned for across the street and not to, and they'll probably come across to Domino's. So I think we should start doing that. I mean, we did it for the one development up further on 195.
And, well, one argument for requiring it would be, let's show an example of what we want to see.
Right.
Even if it's not particularly useful at this moment.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Chair, we're still
Yes.
in the public hearing section. Do you want to ask for public comment and then?
Oh, yes. Actually,
old
we're not
business?
supposed to be talking
Discussing
about the
this.
merits. Yes, sorry about that.
Okay.
Thank you for
Colleen.
pointing that out.
It's so interesting, but.
Yes. No, we went down that rabbit hole.
We did.
Okay, and so let's save that discussion for later. And do we have any other questions for Neil in general? Actually, I have a question for Neil. And looking at, I know we have zero jurisdiction over the interior of the building, but it seemed odd to me that there was no place for anyone to sit down inside the building. Is that a correct interpretation of the plan?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We have, usually our footprints are somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 square feet. And this footprint's about 1,000. So to remove that from the building makes the most sense. Plus currently our customers are not used to having sit down in our restaurant. So instead of building out this property,
I was thinking about the people working there.
we will have, we don't have that in any of our buildings. Realistically, they just don't.
So on a break, people go outside or go into their cars or?
Usually, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it has nothing to do with this, but I was just curious. Any other questions for Neil?
Well, Paul, I think if he has a sit down, then he can't have a drive-through.
No, but I was concerned about the workers themselves.
Oh, I see. A lounge.
A break room, yeah. So,
is there? Do I have the ability to say anything on this
Yeah,
at
sure.
this point or not?
Yeah.
Okay. As far as the sidewalk goes, I would be more than willing to sign on to something down the road, and I understand the complications of doing that later, but it does seem a little bit aggressive for me to put a sidewalk in where nobody walks at all, and I'd be the only one for about 100 feet. It just, one of the members suggested that, there is no traffic there, and I agree, there's nothing there. I've never seen it. But there will be once you start building out Four Corners, and I would rather be an integrated part of that process instead of just putting mine in and then people having to follow what I've done, several years later. I've been 35 years. I do not want to make an eyesore leave an eyesore. It's one of the reasons that this particular project, popped up, and I was very interested in it. I do want to make, an impression, and I will be doing more greenery as best I can. I'm more than willing to change up as much as I can, but at this point, putting a sidewalk in just seems like sort of a little bit of an over amount of work to do for very little benefit at the current time. But I'm more than willing to agree to doing that down the road once we get to a point where it maybe makes more sense.
Okay. Do we have anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
I don't see anyone.
Okay. All right. So we can discuss the merits of things later. And so if do we close this? Should we close it or should we keep it open?
That's up to you.
That's up to us.
If you need more information from the applicant, or you want any additional information from staff, you would need to keep it open. Otherwise, you can close it.
I would think we would want to keep it open if we want to see what he plans to do with his layout.
Okay, so we'll keep it open. So we'll adjourn this public hearing for the next meeting and move on to the second.
Are we at what time, Paul?
At 6:39 p.m. Okay, we move on to the second public hearing, which is second part of the public hearing, which is the amendment of the zoning regulation to establish a new mixed-use center transition zoning district.
Okay. So, can you officially open the public hearing?
Oh, I need to open it, right?
Yep.
Just like a new hearing. Okay.
Yep.
So the public hearing is opened at 6:40 with members present: Corsi, Chandy, Cotton, DeVivo, Frattoni, Plant, Ward, and Manville. Seated for absent member Cooley.
Okay, I do believe it's our practice that I read the public hearing guidelines again. I'll try to be as quick as possible.
I'm sorry, what time did we open it?
6:40. You should make a recording, Jennifer, that we just press the button.
I know. I may record myself. Yes. Okay. As a reminder to all participants, including members and staff, please state your name before speaking. For those viewing at home or on live stream, please understand that there's a 1 to 2 minute time lag due to transmission delays. If you will be providing verbal testimony during the public hearing, you can call into the meeting at any time. We will take a few minutes after the applicant's presentation to give people time to call in. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to receive relevant information about the proposed application from the public. Order and decorum shall be maintained at all times during the hearings. The agency reserves the right to adjourn the hearing to another date and time if the discussion becomes unruly and unmanageable. Given the virtual format, we ask that everyone bears with us if we encounter any glitches. If we are unable to overcome technical issues and or the agency is having difficulty understanding information presented in this format, the hearing will be continued to another meeting. The order of presentations is as follows. First, the applicant, then we will have public comment, those in support, those in opposition, and those undetermined or who are requesting additional information. When addressing the commission, state your name and address and for the record before beginning your comments. Limit your comments to the subject of the public hearing. Avoid repetition where possible. Summarize reports and letters that are submitted to the commission rather than reading them aloud, as all written information is copied and distributed to members. Direct all questions and comments to the chair. Do not attempt to engage in dialogue with members of the commission, staff, or any other parties to the hearing. Speak clearly to ensure your comments are audible to members of the public watching from home and are recorded. Commission members may ask questions of anyone providing testimony, but will not discuss the relative merits of the application until the hearing is closed. Failure to abide by these policies and procedures may result in muting of your microphone or dismissal from the hearing. Instructions on how to participate in the public hearing are listed on your agenda. For those who would like to call in, please call 1-929-205-6099. Enter the following meeting code ID 894-4909-8418 and the passcode is 630136. So there are a few additional items that I need to note for the record. Let's get to that screen. Let's see. So the applicants have gone ahead and sent a revised draft of their regulation, and that's been revised through July 15th, 2022. We have comments from the town attorney. And then we have, I believe I did read for the record some of the other referrals, but we did receive comments from CCOG, which is the, I could just get there. I think I need to read those for the record. That's the Southern Connecticut Council of Governments. So why won't it let me click on that? Go. Dear Mr. Aho, I'm writing in response to the proposed amendments to the zoning regulations of the town of Mansfield. The application was referred to this agency pursuant to 8-3B of the Connecticut General Statutes. The proposed amendment would create a new town-wide mixed-use center transition zoning district. This district was identified and mapped as a future land use category in the 2011, I think they mean 2015, Mansfield Plan of Conservation and Development in designated areas. The proposed district would serve as a transition from higher density commercial and residential uses to adjacent lower density residential and rural neighborhoods. Adoption of this new zoning district would be consistent with the town's POCD. New information was sent to the Southern Connecticut Council of Governments on July 6th, 2022, stating that the proposed new zoning district could be applied to a parcel within 500 feet of the Wyndham town line. Based on a review of the material provided, in addition to the new information provided by the town of Mansfield, I confirm that my prior determination is still true. The proposed amendment will not have a negative intermunicipal impact. If you have any questions, please contact me. Sincerely, Nicole Haggerty, Planner 2 at CCOG. All right. I think that is all. All of the communications are included in your packet.
Okay, so we can move on to the applicant. Who's going to speak for the applicant tonight?
I'll be glad to do so, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you.
Good evening. Nice to see you all again. Attorney Joe Williams. I'm a land use attorney with Shipman and Goodwin at 1 Constitution Plaza in Hartford. As you know, we presented the regulation to you last time, and Chalk Lee gave you a comprehensive description of the overall intent and goals of the regulation. And then Lee Einsweiler from Code Studio took you through the regulation in detail to go through basically how it works and is designed to achieve those goals. Since we met with you 2 weeks ago, you have received a number of things, as Jennifer mentioned, but including 2 staff memos from John Guskowski and from Jennifer. And to us, all the points made in the memos were well taken. We thought they were very well done. We've accepted all of them, made a couple of additional revisions since last time, just to adopt a couple of the suggestions by John. And we believe now that the regulation is in good shape and is worthy of adoption, that it directly advances the goals of your plan of conservation and development. And I don't really have much more to add at the moment, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Excuse me. So any questions from the commission? This is Yvette. Go ahead, Vera. Yeah, you're muted. Still muted. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. First of all, I'm really excited about these regulations, and I know we're going to work hard to get them as close to what we think we want as we can. It's important that it's controlled development while protecting adjacent single-family residential and rural uses, and that's what I'm most interested in. Just a couple of things in the first part. under number 2 and the procedure to amend the zoning map on page 2, you talk about the concept site plan containing the following information: availability and capacity of water, but I don't see any mention of sewer. Should we have mention of sewer in there?
It's in there on 2D, capacity of water. It then says including for fire suppression. And then the next thing is sewer.
Got it. Okay. And then under site plan review on the same page in the application process, the commission may conduct a public hearing on the application where a hearing is deemed appropriate. I would think we would want public hearing for such. It affects other people and other residential areas around it. I would think we would want to have a public hearing for sure. So I would like to see that in the rules. And the other thing that has bothered me from the beginning is about the landscape buffer on page 6, transitional buffer. You're talking about no landscape buffer is required where the adjacent property shares the same mixed-use center, transitional future land use designation. Are you saying that there would be a 52-foot width required if it was abutting the single family and rural residential zoning districts, but not if it were abutting other types of mixed use? Is that what you're saying there, that you would require the 50-foot for the family home and the residential rural?
That's correct. And let me ask Lee, who's on, if you want to expand upon that a little bit, just what the intent is there.
No, I think that's fairly clear. The idea, Vera, is that really you're creating a little node in which this transition takes place. For example, there are 3 properties that sit along the same major roadway there that have this designation in the plan. So the
go down from 75 feet, or was it always 50?
It's been 50 in our draft all along. We actually increased the 25-foot one with the smaller building type back up to the 50. So there's a consistent 50 throughout.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And with last sentence in number 2 under utilities, I don't quite understand what you're saying. Are not required. Utilities are not required to be installed underground.
No, they must be, it says. Unless waived.
Actually, Joe, there's an error in that. If you read the very first part of the sentence, I believe it was meant to say utilities that are not customarily installed underground, such as transformers, boxes.
Oh, in the last sentence, right.
That makes
So
sense.
yes, Vera, I think you.
Okay, that's all I have.
And we need to add the word "not" to that sentence.
Yeah, that's a good catch. So we would recommend the commission, if you're inclined to adopt it, but not in there. So it says utilities that are not customarily installed.
Any other comments or questions? At the risk of making a judgment, it seems like we're going in the right direction here.
We have public comment.
But we can, yeah. Do we have any public comment?
I do not see any public
Okay.
on the line. We could wait just a minute, just in case someone wants to call in.
Mr. Chairman.
But we do want to hear from your consultant.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Go ahead.
So for the record, John Guskowski, principal at Titan Planning and Policy Group. I'm representing the town, prepared a staff memo for you. I just wanted to respond to one quick thing that Vera had asked about the discretionary public hearing for the site plans. Just wanted to clarify, and I'm sure this was discussed with the commission last time, and you're all very well aware of this, But any property that is going to be ultimately developed for this mixed use transitional development district would have to go through at minimum one set of public hearing procedures, and that would be the public hearing that would be required to land the zone on the subject parcels in the first place, which would require the master plan concept that was discussed that would basically show the type and intensity of development that would go on that site, and that would absolutely be required to have a public hearing. And so the public, the neighbors, the folks in the area would see generally what is proposed. The second step, once you as a commission were convinced that that development was appropriate, that scale of development was appropriate at the particular site, the developers would then have to come up with the specific site plan that would include grading, drainage, utilities, the very specific nuts and bolts technical stuff. And it's at that level that it would be up to the commission per this proposed regulation to hold a public hearing or not, if what they didn't feel it was necessary. And I would say I think it depending on the level of detail, the level of public interest, the level of scrutiny and concern at the zone change level would give this commission a pretty good indication about how high profile and important you felt, again, at your discretion, to have that second series of public hearings for the actual development of the property. So there will be public hearings. The public will be informed as to this. It's just that second level that I think, frankly, is an appropriate discretionary public hearing that is reserved to the commission should you feel it's necessary.
Okay, thank you. Now, I must say that reading the first drafts and then the later drafts, it's gotten a lot better. And the things that I would have changed in the first draft have all been changed to my satisfaction. Any other questions? If not, any reason to keep this open? If not, someone could make a motion to close this hearing.
I move we close this hearing.
Okay, moved by Ward, second by DeVivo. Any discussion?
Anybody from the community who wants to speak?
That's right. We gave them a minute. Did anyone show up?
No one showed up. Nope.
No one showed up. Okay.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. We're in the middle of a vote here. All those in favor? Okay. The public hearing is closed unanimously at 6:56 p.m. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. Okay, so we'll go back to old business, and we have the special permit application of Blue Water for the food service use on Middle Turnpike. So
that has to be tabled until
that has to be tabled until we finish the public hearing, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll discuss the merits of
That's
things
correct.
like sidewalks. Okay,
Correct.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so we can go forward to the amendment of the zoning regulations. And do we have would it be appropriate to have someone work on a motion, or is there a motion already prepared on that?
We did, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Guskowski did work on a motion.
Okay.
And we could, the typo that
Can add that.
we can add that, and I can put that on the screen, or John can actually share the screen.
So if someone would like to,
Do you want to share, or do you want me to I have the sentence. I just wasn't able to write down the reference, so I could pull up the draft motion right now if that works, and we could just
Type it in. I can, yeah. We can do that tag team. I have the document up in Word if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to?
Sure.
I believe you have permission to share.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Can the commissioners see that all right?
Yes.
it's a little bit over to the left, but on my screen.
Good.
Push it over to the right a little bit. Okay, good. I need to maybe move people over. I'm gonna crowd everyone over to the side. Okay, now I can see it. Okay, good. Can you change it? The one that needs to be changed, can you change it? Using Word there?
Yeah, so what I need to do is to amend with okay, so I would do it. All right, let me grab that specific section. That's in what, Jen, do you have that? Oh, it's on
Utilities.
yeah. It's what section is that? That's section 2. That's
App-
10.y.
Yeah,
That
in the application process.
I have I cut and pasted the
Not it either.
texting, but I didn't do the reference.
It's in utilities, section D2.
I think 2,
D
Number 2.
D number 2, right?
here we go. Utilities, it's D, yeah, it's 2D. Right? Yes,
D2.
2D1. I'm sorry, 2D2.
Okay, there we go.
All right. If someone would like to put that forward, we could then discuss it.
I'll be happy to.
Okay, thank you very.
I move to approve the application of BPOZ 750 Stores LLC and CMC Stores SPV LLC to amend the zoning regulations to establish a new mixed-use center transition zoning district P 1377 as presented in a draft revised to July 15, 2022, and is heard at a public hearing on July 5th and July 18th, 2022, with the addition of the word "not" in quotes in the section 10.y.2.d.2 sentence that reads, quote, "Utilities that are customarily installed underground, such as transformer boxes, are not required to be installed underground," so that it reads, "Utilities that are not customarily installed underground, ... unquote, unquote. This approval, based on numerous revisions to the original proposed amendment submitted on May 13, 2022, as recommended by the Town of Mansfield Land Use staff and consultants. In approving this, is that this? Okay.
Sorry, I just shifted it. It said this approval based on. It should be this approval is based on. I just wanted to correct that word.
I had a problem with that. In approving this amendment, the Planning and Zoning Commission considered all public hearing testimony and communications and hereby makes the following findings in approval of these amendments, subject to any revisions incorporated in the approval motion. The first bullet, the amendments promote.
I'll tell you what. Let me number those instead of bullet them, so it's easier.
Thank you. Number 1, the amendments promote the statutory goals identified in section 8-2 of the Connecticut General Statutes and other zoning purposes cited in Article 1 of Mansfield zoning regulations. Number 2, the amendments are consistent with the Plan of Conservation and Development, particularly section 8, P 8 through 12 and 8 through.
That's pages 8, 12, and 813.
8 pages, okay. related to community design principles. Number 3, the amendments are appropriately worded, legally sound, and suitably coordinated with other provisions in the Mansfield zoning regulations. And number 4, the amendments will promote the public's health, safety, property values, and general welfare. The amendments shall become effective on August 15th, 2022.
Moved by Ward,
Second.
second by Cotton.
I just have one comment. Could we change the P to pages? That way it's just easier when we're, thank you.
And I'm gonna make actually one other change, if with that, your permission, Vera. I believe
It's Article 10.
articles rather than sections.
And that's with the
Article 10,
permission of Ward and Cotton.
Correct.
Article 10, section Y, Article 10, comma.
As you want to do it that way? Okay.
Yeah, that's how we usually, section Y, just to be consistent with how we usually do it. Thank you.
Okay, has it settled down
Wait.
now?
Wait, now that I'm looking, is it section Y 2D2? Was it 2D2?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Okay, it's settled down and we have the Ward and Cotton both agree with the changes.
Yes.
Okay, so now we can move on to discussion. And I think we have needed this regulation for a long time. I'm glad we finally have it. And there's a few different places we can apply this to. And I think the spirit of it can be used in future regulations that we write to make the transition from one zone to another. We haven't paid enough attention to that in the past, and I think we'll do that going forward. So I see it as being very positive for us and for the area that's specifically mentioned and other places in town that will use it.
I too feel exactly the same way. I still would like to see a second public hearing at that second level, because that will give the details more to the interest of the residents surrounding it.
Any other discussion?
I just want to thank Taiki Policy and Planning Group for assisting me and the commission with this. It was a
Yes, the drafts got better and better.
Yeah, it was a good learning experience for me.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, we can move to a vote. How are in favor? Okay, it appears to be unanimous. All right, we've made some progress tonight.
Jen, I've sent you the final version of the motion.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so old business C is tabled and D is also tabled. So I think we have finished for tonight. Is there anything else we should be doing? Go ahead, Vera.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the development of these regs for the transitional area. Perhaps it'll even be more oriented towards families than these other larger developments almost surrounding it. So it's with deep regret that I'm resigning.
Oh, no.
From PCC and IWA due to family considerations.
Oh, very
I'm sorry, I didn't want to do it this way. Anyway, I've enjoyed working with such dedicated staff. It's just amazing the workload that they have carried. And it's been heavy all along. And then with the departure of Linda, just really something else, mind-boggling. So I'm hoping it will become easier for you sooner rather than later. I've enjoyed working with the members of the commission. Particularly enjoyed the discussions at Reg Review. I miss Ken Ron. But happy to have Luann join us when she can, and happy and hoping that my successor will join in as well. And speaking of my successor, it will be Craig Woosh. He is extremely capable in his own right, and he is able to make the field trips most times, which makes me very happy. So keep on making good choices for development, and thanks for putting up with me all these years.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear. Are you leaving as of this meeting or?
Yes.
Oh, well, we're sorry to see you go. You're the best one at catching mistakes. Craig, you're gonna have to step up and find all those mistakes.
Anyway, thank you.
It's been great having you on the commission, and we will miss you.
And I think the staff can echo that. We're gonna really miss you, Vera, but hopefully you'll be down the hall for a little while longer, and we can come ask you questions. But you've been great. You're really helpful to staff and always supportive of us. And I love that you catch typos. I'm gonna miss that.
I'm sorry, that's my claim to fame, but
well, and that and much more. I mean, you have a voice of moderation, and just you have some great, always added a lot of good input.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vera, for all that you've done for us. All right, we'll need to have some kind of a party.
No.
No party?
This is not a party type
Not a
thing.
party. Okay, all right. But thank you. Thank you, Vera.
Going to miss you a lot, Vera.
Thank you, Benu. I always appreciate your input.
Benu, you and I are becoming the old ones here now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm.
Hang in there, both of you.
Okay, we'll try.
Please.
On that note, we will...
One other thing, Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
okay.
Luann has done some research on the training requirements that are for land use commissioners. So there is something in your packet. You have until January 1st, 2024. There's lots of links. She hyperlinked, the guidelines. Clear has some great opportunities for training. We will continue to keep sending you information about how to get trained up. But I'm very excited that that there is this requirement, because I think this is not obvious work. That it's kind of complicated, and it takes a while to kind of get the hang of things. And the more support volunteers can have, I think the easier it will be for you all. So anyways, take a look at this and we'll talk about it, and maybe someone will be able to come up to speed more quickly and Vera will never be replaced, but have some more input and guidance.
More vibrant. Yes.
Thank you, Vera. And good night, everyone.
Bye.
We adjourn at 7:11 p.m.
Good night.
Good night.